Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know probably a few of you are still trickling in here, so I will give it a couple more seconds. But for those of you who are here, thank you, and we will start here very soon. Okay, so today we are going through a product update and sharing what is new in eScribe 6. So thank you again for joining us. We're excited to bring you through some of this content today. So let's jump right in. As a reminder, today's information and roadmap details and anything shared in today's session is confidential, so please do not share this outside of this webinar session. If you need a reminder on anything, we will be sending out a recording so you can jump back into that and view any info that you may have missed. But today is confidential, so please just be aware of that. Thank you. So today's speakers, I am Lizzie Marks. I am one of the product marketing managers at eScribe, and I will be the moderator today. I'll be going through some of the content and the slides. And as you may probably know, both Taylor and Kelsey are senior product managers at eScribe, and I'll be handing things off to them for them to give us a bit more of a deep dive into product updates and then live demos as well towards the end of today's session. A couple housekeeping rules, just as a reminder, all mics are automatically muted. Please submit your questions into the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we'll do our best to answer most of those questions. If we do miss anything, though, we will have our CSM follow up with you. And like I mentioned earlier, today's recording will be shared via email and posted to the community portal if you need to view anything back in time. And also just please feel free to take our webinar survey towards the end of this. It will pop up at the end. That way we can use your insight and feedback to help move things forward for us and make things better for you. Okay, so jumping into today's agenda, as usual, we will give you a reminder of what eScribe 6 is. We will do a recap of our last webinar. I'll pass it over to Taylor to give an update on some product info and our roadmap. And then we will dive into live demos with both Taylor and Kelsey on some new features coming up, and we will finish off with Q&A. So as a reminder, eScribe 6, of course, is an improved version of eScribe that is faster, more user-friendly, and modernized. We're building this to give you what you deserve, which is the industry's most advanced and most modern and easy to use public meeting management solution. We heard your feedback a while ago. We want to make sure there are fewer bugs, more feature improvements and releases, improved speed, performance, and usability. So that is why we are building this for you. eScribe will allow you to do your job faster, have an improved layout and flow, and an updated, modernized appearance. Okay. A quick recap of our last webinar. We went over how you can open documents in Microsoft online. We gave you a couple updates on our eScribe 6 upgrades and the progress there. We also touched on the product roadmap and took a look at what things are in progress and coming up next and in development. And we gave you a live demo of how you can open those documents in Microsoft Online and how that works inside of eScribe 6. Okay, now I'll pass it off to Taylor to cover some upgrade info.
Yeah, so this thanks for having me on here today, Lizzie. This should look pretty similar to what we chatted about in the last webinar. But we are going to be starting some upgrades in summer 2025. These customers, it's going to be a smaller number of customers. We're going to be upgrading them and treating them as brand new implementations of eScribe. So we'll have more information coming soon in the coming months. But as we've talked about in prior webinars as well, right? We're here to support you every step of the way, scheduling through these upgrades that's gonna fit with your timelines and other projects and initiatives you have going on. So we'll have more information coming. It's gonna be more towards probably late summer, and it's definitely gonna be limited to a small subset of customers to start. But that's at least what we'll share at this point when it relates to upgrades. But as I mentioned, upcoming webinars will have more information on, what's that going to look like for the first handful of customers. Now, from a roadmap perspective, right, we shared a lot of things that we worked on making eScribe 6 the best possible media management solution. So you can see we've completed a lot of work over the past year and a half related to some pretty key enhancements, some of which we'll show you today. Things we're working on right now is we're continuing to make enhancements and make approval workflows more flexible, adding reviewer groups, overall improvements related to document manager within that experience of managing documents and approving work. We're doing some additional work on streamlining draft agenda items. We actually have talked to a handful of eScribe customers that do use draft agenda and how to make it more intuitive, more streamlined. And then we're just doing some additional pieces to support publishing, so validating attachments before they're actually published. So those are some of the major bodies of work that we're doing right now. Upcoming additional improvements on Media Manager, some additional work on package templates, so really creating a more streamlined way for you to manage the formatting and the content for all of your packages that you'll generate. And then more towards later in the year, we'll do some additional work on meeting recurrence and be able to start doing some work on a new version of the public site, and an overall revamp. So that's kind of where we are for both upgrades and for the roadmap. And what I'm going to do is I'll pass it over to Kelsey, and she's going to take you guys through some of our enhancements related to auto delegate and decline and send back for approval workflows.
Okay, thanks, Taylor. I'm just going to share my screen here, and we'll start with auto delegate today. So I'll go over to my approval settings and show you what those look like. So in my approval group here, I've got my city council approval group, and I've got some settings here associated with that group. You can see that it says approval group settings here. It lets me know if my approver assistant is enabled and what that setting looks like. So if I go to edit details, I've got my approver assistant toggle here. If I have this enabled, nothing changes. It works like it does today. Basically, you have that approver assistant within your approval step, and then they're the person who delegates the approval step over to that delegate listed, whoever they want to choose from that list. I can turn this off though, for example here, and then you see that this field becomes active. So the number of days before auto assigned to delegates. The default here is 5. I've been playing with this today, so it shows 0, but the default here is 5, and that means that after 5 days, for example here, let's look at this step number 1. After 5 days, that approval request that was sitting with Mike Bird will automatically be passed to Ashley Friel since she's the delegate listed. If there was more than one delegate listed, all of those delegates would get that approval request after that 5 days. But since there's just one, only Ashley will get that. You can also change this number to whatever you'd like. It can be anywhere from 0 to 99. And if you put 0 there, you can see this note also says it. But if you put 0 there, it's going to automatically send it as soon as that approval starts. So there's no waiting. Of course, 1 means 1 day, 2 means 2 days. So 0 means instantly. So I'm going to set that to 0, and I'll navigate over to my documents area, and we can show you that in action. So I've got my approval request set up and ready to go. I'm going to sit on my new approval request page. I've got my settings here listed. I'm going to select my approval group that I'm going to be using, and I can select start the approval. Once that's started, I can go back into the approval request here. You can see that it lets me know what my setting is for that approval request. So it's assigned to 0 days. My approval request has started, and it's going to go to Mike and Ashley. So I have my account here for Ashley just in a different browser here. And when I refresh that page, so this is Ashley over here, you can see that she automatically gets that approval request in her account. So I can click to view that approval request, and I can approve that on behalf of Mike Bird. So I'll click approve there, minimize that, and I'll just refresh my page here so that I can see the change. And you can see that it's been approved, and then it's pending with the next person. So if I go back out here and click on the approval history, it also lets me know exactly what's happened. So that approval request was started by myself. I'm the admin in this case. It was assigned to Mike. Then it was automatically assigned to the delegates, approved by Ashley on behalf of Mike, and then it's assigned to the next person. You can't see it also on my screen, but I've got the emails flowing in to let me know exactly who the approval is sitting with. So that's auto delegate. Pretty simple there, just one setting, and it can have a powerful impact so that you're not waiting on anybody to keep that approval moving. And then the second piece is the decline and send back. So I'll go back to my approval groups and show you that setting as well. This is a setting listed here, so it lets you know exactly which one you're using. And if I go to edit my approval group, I'll edit the proper one though, my city council one. If I go to edit that, you can see that there's two options here for sending back to an approver. So the first one is sending back to the selected approval steps. So basically, if you had a large approval group, maybe 10 people, and let's say it's on step number 5, if I wanted to send it back, I can send it back to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it would come back to 5, or I could just do 1 and 2, 1. You can really mix and match, and so it's only going to go back to the people who you check in the checkbox, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'll keep that one selected, and then I'll explain the other one after. So I'll go back to my document list here, go to my document that's in progress right now. So it looks like Mike's already approved it, Anthony, James, and it's just pending with Sam. As an admin, though, I can decline on behalf of that person. So I'm just going to do that so I don't have to flip between accounts today. You can see I've got my cancel request, my decline, and my approve. If I click decline, I have that decline button, which means that if I click that, the whole workflow is declined and it's going to be in the status of declined, and it can always be restarted from the very beginning. Or if I click send back to approver, I can select exactly who from that approval group I would like to send it back to. And of course, it can only go back. It can't go forward. So you're only going to see people listed here who have approved the document. So if I wanted to send it back to only Anthony, it would go back to Anthony and then right back to myself. Something also neat is that if you type in the comments here and then you were to select decline, send back to the approver, I'm going to have the comments here so that that person who I'm sending it back to is going to see what my comments are. So I'll just send it back to Anthony and James for now. Click that send back, and I'll take you back into that approval request so you can see what that looks like. So Mike would still be approved here since I didn't send it back to him. It's gone back to Anthony and it's now pending with him. And then James will need to take a look at it once again when Anthony approves that document. If I go back here to my document list and I click on the approval history, we also have everything listed out there for you. So you can see that the approval request started, it was assigned to Mike, all of those comments and whatnot. And then when it was assigned to Sam, myself, so Kelsey, sent that on behalf of Sam back to James and Anthony. And then you can see the comments there listed as well. Heading back for the last part here to my approval group to show you the last setting. In my edit details area, this one here, this is one that you would select one person who you're going to send it back to, and then it would go back to everyone after that person. So I'll show you exactly what that looks like. Save the changes there. I'll go back to my document list, and I just had to start a brand new approval since changes only take place to brand new approvals. So I'll select my approval group, and I will start my approval. And again, just so I don't have to flip back and forth, I'm just going to go in here as the admin and kind of approve. So I'll let you see what that's going to look like. Approval request. I'm going to approve it on behalf of Anthony. I'm going to go back in there and approve on behalf of James as well. And then it's going to be on our last approver, Sam. Back to my approval request. So you can see everyone here is approved. I've approved on behalf of them, and it's sitting with Sam. So if I go decline and send back to approver, you can see it looks a tiny bit different. So instead of checkboxes, you'll see these buttons here, and I can only select one. So if I select Mike in this instance, it's going to go to Mike, and then Anthony and James automatically. If I select Anthony, it's going to go to Anthony, and then James automatically. Or I can just do James, and then it'll come right back to Sam after that. So it just depends how you'd like your approval to move, if you'd like to select certain people or if you want it to go right back to a certain step and then subsequently everyone after them. We also have the approval history for that as well, that step, of course. So if I scroll down here, oops, just going to make sure that I sent it back. Go back to my approval history. And it was sent back by myself on behalf of Sam to James, and then it's assigned to James and his delegates automatically. So those are the three approval features that I wanted to show you today, and I'll pass it back over to Taylor to show subscription lists.
Kelsey, we have a quick question. Someone asked, can the workflow approval history be printed out?
There's no like easy way to print it. I guess there's no like print button. You could certainly take a screenshot if you wanted to, but no, we don't have that kind of quick way to do it right now.
Okay, thank you. Taylor, I'll pass it to you.
Yep, let me just. Cool. So I'm going to walk everyone through subscription lists. It's our newest public engagement module. It's an add-on to eScribe 6 that we've developed. And I'm going to walk you through how to manage your subscription list within eScribe, how to actually send out notifications to your lists, and I'll show you kind of what the experience is like for an actual public participant that wants to stay engaged with meeting material and meeting content. So we have a new section in eScribe under administration called subscription list. When you go here, you'll see this new subscription list area. You'll have the ability to create a list, also set it as public versus private, and I'll show you where that kind of comes into play. So once you've created your list, you can now start adding subscribers. So I can either choose to add subscribers to a list either as a user of eScribe, so let's say it's an internal user, or I can add it manually by an email address. So you can either, let's say you need to add somebody on the fly to an existing list. Yeah, you have ways within eScribe to do that as well. So it's pretty easy to add either by user. I get a pick list that I can then select an internal user from, or I can add manually and I can do an email address, do first name, last name, and add the email address. If I need to manage my list and clean it up, I can delete anyone at any time from the list. So pretty simple, easy to use user interface to, create a list, manage the actual subscribers underneath the list. So once you've created your list, let's say you maybe have some users under there. What I can then do is once I've published my meeting material to the internet, so my agenda, and for this I've published my web, my agenda, my full package. I now have this new option to send notification. So when I click this, it's going to allow me to basically customize the subject, the body, and actually go down here and select the subscription list from the administration tab. So this is a template that, and I'll show you where this is in the platform as well, but this is fully templatized. So you can build out the template and the body that works for you. It'll pull it in when you're ready to send the notification. And you have plenty of options to, further customize before you send out your message, adding any sort of materials you need, any sort of meeting, variables that you need, both for the subject and the body. So once you're set on the subject, the body, I can go ahead and click send, right? And it's going to send out an automated email out to everyone on the list. And it's going to contain a link to that specific type of package. So if it's HTML, it's going to link them directly to your published agenda in HTML. If it's a full package, it's going to be a PDF link that your public participants can, your public users can go and view the upcoming meeting content. So I'll also show you the email template, right? So like I mentioned, everything's templatized when it comes to sending the notification. You can go here and basically build out your master copy for your email template for your subscription list and sending notifications. And like I mentioned, once you have that template down, you can edit it on the fly if you need to customize it for a particular meeting. So I've showed you where you can manage the actual lists and build out your lists. Showed you where you can actually send out the notification once the meeting content has been published. And now I'll show you what it actually looks like from the experience of a public user that wants to subscribe to, a series of meetings. So on the public site right here, I have a new button called subscribe. And what I can do now is let's say a private constituent or a private resident, right? I can go in here, add in my email address, right? It's going to ask me for a one-time passcode. So we obviously want to make sure that we're verifying users that are trying to subscribe. So I'm gonna pull up and get my one-time passcode that I just got. Give me 1 second. I got multiple screens here, right? So I'm going to put in my verification code, and then it's going to pull up the list that I showed you from eScribe 6, all the public lists that I have created as a subscriber. Now that I've verified my email, verified who I am, I can now look at the list of meetings and lists that I can subscribe to, right? So you can see here, I have three public lists from eScribe 6, Common Council, Planning Board, Zoning Board. I had a private list. Private lists do not show up. That's a private list that maybe you want to manage internally or have a different use case for. But from here, as a public user, I can basically subscribe or unsubscribe to any sort of list at any time, save my selection, and then I should be able to see the updates, right? Now that I'm refreshing this and, as a person I've subscribed, I can now see that Taylor Bold has subscribed and the email address is here. So going forward for any future meetings that's tied to that list, when I go to actually send the notification, anyone that's subscribed from the public site will show up directly on your list and then we'll receive the content once it's published and you actually send out the notification. So like I mentioned, the goal here is to keep the public engaged in a streamlined manner that obviously is within an eScribe experience. So if you're managing lists today, either in Excel or other platforms, this is a great outlet to kind of connect it within the public media management kind of experience that we have with eScribe, streamline it, and then keep people connected, obviously between government and the public that's looking to consume some of the information. But yeah, that's what we have for subscription lists.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Taylor and Kelsey. For everyone, please feel free to ask any other questions you may have in our Q&A, as we will jump into questions here and try to get to as many as we can. Looks like some just came in. So we have someone ask, how do members of the public unsubscribe themselves? Is it through emails they receive as notifications, or is there a way to do it through the public site?
Great question. You can do it both ways. There's an unsubscribe option in our emails. The other option too, in the same way that I click subscribe, did my one-time passcode, verified myself, you can uncheck and check those boxes anytime. So I can go back in there at any time, authenticate myself, and uncheck all three of my meetings that I've subscribed to. So you as the public user have full control to opt in or opt out at any time with subscription lists.
Great, thank you. Any other questions about demos or any other content that we went over today? As we're wrapping up here, please feel free to post those. Looks like we have another one coming in. Someone asked, once eScribe 6 is ready, can we run both eScribe 6 and 5 in parallel for a period to support the transition?
We're working through those details, but we wouldn't expect it to just be overnight, flip the switch. Now you're on 6 and you can't access 5. So yeah, you'll be able to have both of them available to you.
Great, thank you. Someone else asked, will our eScribe 5 data be migrated into eScribe 6?
Yes, we're working on that piece right now, working on exactly how and which data will be migrated over. And of course, we'll be communicating that so that you're aware of exactly what will be migrated over.
Great. Another question, have there been any changes in the sync controls?
If you mean syncing your your meeting template within a meeting site, you don't have to sync anything in the meeting site anymore. So any changes you make to your meeting template, those will flow into your meeting site. If that's what you mean, then yes.
Okay. Yeah, if that wasn't answered quite to what you were hoping, please feel free to type in maybe a bit more clarification or feel free to reach out. Looks like some clarification came in. Betsy said to the meetings that have been created.
Oh yeah, you won't have to sync your changes anymore. Those will automatically be done. You won't have to sync. The only thing that you have to do is if you updated a user in an attendee group, you can select apply changes to upcoming meetings. That one's pretty standard though. And then I see a couple questions about eScribe 5 not being supported. There's no question about we're going to like drop support or anything for that. That'll be supported as long as it needs to be. So don't worry about that.
Great, thank you. As we're wrapping up here, and I'm sure a couple more questions will come through, please feel free to take our post-webinar survey. We really appreciate your feedback and a few minutes for you to complete that.
Yes, that was a pain point. I just see it says, okay, in eScribe 5, you had to sync everything to the meeting that had been created. Yes, that was definitely a pain point. Something changed in 6 for the better.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions? This is the last chance to get those in. If not in this webinar session, please feel free to reach out to your CSM and they can help you out with any other questions you may have. Okay, looks like that might be everything. So again, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. And please feel free to reach out to the eScribe team if you need anything else. Thanks so much.